All right, guys, Wes here. Welcome back to the channel. And as you know, Hogwarts Legacy was one of my favorite games of 2023, which is saying a lot because this year was absolutely stacked with insane games. While this fantasy RPG unfortunately wasn't nominated for anything at the Game of the Year awards, that still doesn't take away from the fact that it was one of the best-selling games of the entire year, and there are now millions of gamers around the world eagerly awaiting a sequel. Avalanche Software is on the move because we've got a bunch of news to go over regarding Hogwarts Legacy, and we've also got some information that was dropped about what Avalanche Software is up to next, and what exactly is Warner Brothers planning for the future of Harry Potter in the world of gaming. I'll be covering a lot in this video, so check the video chapters to optimize your viewing experience. Also check the pinned comment for the details on the winner of the last giveaway for reaching 140,000. We're going to go ahead and run it back though. If you guys would like to win a PS5, I'm giving another away. Yes, we are up to like 8 PS5s we've given away. It's absolutely wild. So if you guys would like to win one for 150,000 subscribers, it's super easy to answer. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, comment your Twitter handle, and then tweet me or send me proof in my Discord server that you are subscribed, and that will enter you for a chance to win a PS5 at 150k subs. So something very curious happened recently over on the Warner Brothers Discovery website. A new job listing popped up for a senior producer at Avalanche Software, which at face value isn't really too surprising since Warner Brothers made it very clear that they plan on expanding the Harry Potter IP in the world of gaming, and since Avalanche Software did such an incredible job with Hogwarts Legacy, it totally makes sense for them to be expanding their workforce. But here is the curious part. If you look at the job posting and then look at the job post, and it explicitly states that the new hire will be joining the Hogwarts Legacy team. The rest of the job description is also pretty standard, and it doesn't reveal anything that the company is working on, but the fact that this new position is for an individual specifically for the Hogwarts Legacy team is super interesting, and this could be our very first suggestion that further development of Hogwarts Legacy 2 is in development, meaning the direct sequel to Hogwarts Legacy 1 could be happening. This could be our confirmation, or at the very least it shows that development on Hogwarts Legacy has not stopped just yet. Now, in addition to Avalanche hiring a new senior producer for the Hogwarts Legacy team, it was also recently reported that Warner Brothers has greenlit some kind of horror game set in the Harry Potter universe. While this information has not been confirmed, it does come from the Rolling Library, who says that they were fed information from one of their inside sources who have gotten several Harry Potter related things correct in the past. Now, the report didn't specify which Warner Brothers studio was working on the project, but they're confident that such a horror game has been greenlit and is in development at one of their studios. Now, this all begs the question, is Hogwarts Legacy sequel going to be a horror game? A horror game set in the Harry Potter universe could be absolutely amazing, and to tie it into something that we've been talking about recently is how Hogwarts Legacy 2 is going to need to do something to differentiate itself from Hogwarts Legacy 1 to avoid feeling like a glorified expansion. Hogwarts Legacy did an incredible job bringing Hogwarts and its surrounding areas to life, and it's believed that the map in its entirety will return in the sequel, but just how much can Avalanche do to it in order to make it feel fresh and new without contradicting the lore? Given how well the first game recreated Harry Potter's world, it's safe to assume that the sequel is going to go ham with creating a unique tone, as well as expanded upon the gameplay, which is where a more horror-driven narrative could come into play quite beautifully. By making the sequel a bit more horror-focused, Avalanche could reuse the entire map of the first game, but make a bunch of changes to the little details and make it feel like a completely new experience. It's also totally possible that when they said horror game, the insider just meant that it's going to be something more horror focused as opposed to an all-out horror experience. It's all relative, right? I don't think WB is actually making a full-fledged Harry Potter horror game, but I can absolutely believe that they're working on something much darker and unsettling than Hogwarts Legacy was. That would be more than enough to get me excited for it. I also believe one of the earliest names for Hogwarts Legacy was originally going to be called Hogwarts Dark Legacy, but then they opted for just Hogwarts Legacy. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you guys want a Hogwarts Legacy horror game, or would you rather have a continuation of the current Hogwarts Legacy story? Now, what if I told you that Hogwarts Legacy's future could be something a little bit unexpected? There has been some whispers recently that the ongoing Harry Potter game called Magic Awakened is going to be expanded upon in the near future, possibly even with a follow-up game. Now, in case you hadn't heard of it, Magic Awakened is a card-based game that has elements of an MMO as well as RPG elements that launched in September of 2021 in China and in Taiwan, but then got an international release earlier this year, and the reception has been pretty decent. The game reportedly generated hundreds of millions of dollars during its initial 2021 release window, and while it hasn't gotten much mainstream attention since then, Warner Brothers is surely thinking about how they could turn it into something bigger with a console release, or possibly even a follow-up game with a brand new MMO that piggybacks more off of the success of Hogwarts Legacy. Magic Awakened is currently only available on PC and mobile devices, and it's a very mobile style game, but if Warner Brothers wanted to make an MMO more akin to Elder Scrolls Online or Final Final Fantasy XIV based in the Harry Potter universe, they could have a huge hit on their hands. What if the future of Hogwarts Legacy is in the form of an MMO? One of the things that I see a lot of people disappointed with Hogwarts Legacy was that the game was a single player, that you couldn't do anything cooperative, and they were just really hoping that the game had more multiplayer elements. For me, I'm a big sucker whenever it comes to single player games. I personally enjoy those better than multiplayer, but there are a lot of times that I'm walking through Hogwarts Castle and Hogwarts Legacy and think, just how cool would it be to have all of my buddies and I playing the same game at the same time? And then imagine a Hogwarts Legacy game where it was an MMO and every student in the classroom is somebody online. That would be wild. It might not be the best fit, but either way, I know a lot of people want a multiplayer project for the Hogwarts Legacy IP, and I would be fine with that. Now, as for the future of Hogwarts Legacy, fans have been eager for some kind of news about ongoing support for the game, assuming that there's anything going to be released in the near future, although I am personally having my doubts. Although I do have a little bit of a glimmer of hope, mainly because of the job listing for the Hogwarts Legacy team. Now, it has been suggested throughout the year that any kind of major post-launch support, be it content or otherwise, would likely not come out until after the release of the 8th generation console ports, and since the Switch version was delayed many times, the timeline just kind of kept getting pushed back and back further. We are nearly in 2024 at this point, and Avalanche Software haven't confirmed any kind of paid DLC or post-launch content support via patches or anything holiday-wise, and I'm not really expecting them to at this point. Production on the sequel has likely already begun, and any ideas they have for potential DLC are likely going to be moved to the next game. If the 8th generation console ports have been released earlier this year, maybe we would have gotten some kind of DLC or perhaps more regular title updates, but since the year is almost over, I just don't see that happening anymore. The Game Awards is happening very soon. Maybe we can get lucky with some kind of trailer. Maybe they're gonna hot drop a DLC, anything, something. I would just love to have this story expanded, but I totally understand if that doesn't happen. Warner Brothers likely wants to keep the production on the sequel moving forward as quickly as possible, and now that the first game's final version has been released on the Nintendo Switch, the team over at Avalanche Software is probably all hands on deck for the next installment, especially since it's been confirmed that they're switching to Unreal Engine 5 for this game, which is probably going to take some time to get the team used to it. There's also the asset porting and just a bunch of nightmares that could go down, but either way, I cannot wait to see the graphics for the next game, especially everything that they unlock with utilizing Unreal 5. And like I said before, the sequel to Hogwarts Legacy is likely going to be a very different tone, or possibly even an entirely new story than the first game, but the map is likely going to be largely the same. The gameplay will likely be improved a bit, and maybe some of the RPG elements will be a bit deeper, but the story and the tone are really the things that are going to differentiate it from the 2023 game. Now, some have suggested that Hogwarts Legacy 2 is going to take place in an entirely different time period than the first game, perhaps trying to closely be in line with the books, as well as the upcoming HBO Max adaptation, which I'm really hoping we get an announcement for soon. Now, some have also suggested that it will go in an entirely new time period than we've ever seen before in this universe. And I'm talking like the entire Wizarding world, something that we've never seen before. Or maybe, which I think this is the safe option, Avalanche will make a direct sequel to Hogwarts Legacy that takes place a year or two after the game's main plot, but this one would have a much darker tone. Again, though, that's assuming that the Harry Potter horror game and Hogwarts Legacy 2 are the same thing and not two separate projects. Like I mentioned in my other videos, I would love for the next Hogwarts Legacy game to expand upon the RPG elements that were admittedly a tad basic in the first game. We want this game to be about our legacy and not as much a curated legacy. Now, for me, I think the prime setting for this game would be something that takes place in the years leading up to the Sorcerer's Stone. Like, imagine a game where you're experiencing the first rise of Lord Voldemort firsthand through the eyes of a Hogwarts student, watching their entire world crumble around them and possibly take part in the first Wizarding War, especially since we never actually got to see that in the movies. But I'm sure we'll get some clarification in the near future as to what the direction the sequel will take, because at this point, all of the evidence suggests that it's already entered development, and Warner Brothers likely doesn't want to sit on this news for too long, given how successful the first game was. But what do you guys think about the future of Harry Potter and Hogwarts Legacy? WB recently stated that they were focused on turning popular franchises into live service games, and that included the Harry Potter IP. But from the sounds of these reports, it seems like that they're also going to be putting a lot of effort into making more single player experiences, which makes sense given the fact that Hogwarts Legacy was one of the best-selling games of the last decade. A nice balance of live service and single player Harry Potter content could be the best possible scenario, but we'll have to wait and see just how things play out. Be sure to let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any future news and updates from me. And until next time, this has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys again soon.